Well, it's another beautiful day on the set of Africa in View. And today is really, really fun. And I know you noticed there's a change in the host. My name is Ayanagho, and I still have with me in the studio.
I've got, of course, Olamide is my name, and together alongside a very delectable lady that you can see already. Yeah, we just be doing it. I want to do the honors I introduce.
Olamide.
Please. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to officially welcome and set Mrs. Let's put it this way, Adenike Owoeye-Ajiboye. Nice to have you join us.
Well, it's a pleasure being with you guys today.
Aghogho, I must ask, did you guys plan this color of dress?
I don't think so.
It looks similar.
Be a lady and you will understand. Sometimes this lady, we have this,
connecting.
There's a connection.
Yes. There's a connection.
I'm the one who's not getting the connection.
You'll be fine. Today you're the only man on set, and so you better just...
Blessed am I amongst women.
Of course.
Anyway, on this episode we are looking at, as usual, our news for the day, our news bulletin, where we'll talk about one of the stories that interests us, and then we go into our main segment of the day, which talks about EFCC and their, I don't know if I should say shenanigans but let's look at what EFCC really symbolizes for Nigerians in Nigeria. And then after that, we'll take a trip down to the north for the Argungu festival. I think you should watch it and see if it's something maybe we should just gather together this year and just participate in it. Though ahead is just for men, so I'm planning to send Olamide to represent us. Take one for the Africa in View team. What do you think? Well, let's go on a short break and see the news. We'll be right back. The Federal Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism and Creative Economy, led by Minister Hannatu Musawa, has launched the Creative Economy Development Fund to provide loans, grants and equity support to creatives, entrepreneurs and cultural businesses across Nigeria. According to Musawa's advisor, Adenike Owoeye-Ajiboye, the fund aims to unlock the economic potential of the creative sector, with applications open in phases beginning May 2025 and disbursement starting January 2026. The Federal Executive Council has approved the rescoping of several highway projects and new road constructions totaling about 1.81 trillion naira, including a 1.05 trillion naira project for the 7th axial road linking Lekki Deep Sea Port to Shagamu Ore. Minister of Works Dave Umahi detailed approvals across 12 states such as Akure Ado-Ekiti Road, Sokoto Zamfara Katsina Kaduna Corridor, Aba Ikotepene Road, and Benin Shagamu Ore Highway, with funding from both government and private sources like MTN's tax credit. The federal government has approved the use of NIN Auth, a new identity verification service by the National Identity Management Commission, to streamline and secure the process of verifying identities using the National Identification Number. According to NIMC spokesperson Kayode Adegoke, all government agencies are now required to use the platform, which supports President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda by enhancing data privacy, user control, and access to services like SIM registration, passport applications, and tax filings. The federal government has established a committee to reform the National Youth Service Corps, aiming to enhance its relevance, safety, and contribution to national development amid growing concerns over its effectiveness. At the inauguration in Abuja, Ministers Ayodele Olawande and Maruf Tunji Alausa highlighted plans for structural improvements, including the introduction of teachers and medical corps for deployment to undeserved rural areas. Nigeria and Brazil are set to review their bilateral air services agreements to enable direct flight operations between both countries, in line with efforts to boost regional connectivity and trade under President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. During an official visit, Aviation Minister Festus Keyamo and his delegation also engaged aircraft manufacturer Embraer to explore partnerships aimed at strengthening Nigeria's aviation sector through better access to modern aircraft and financing. Retired military generals have urged the Nigerian government to equip the armed forces amidst growing concerns over the resurgence of terrorist attacks in the northeast. Despite significant increases in defense budgets, lawmakers and retired officers warn that Boko Haram insurgents are better armed with modern equipment such as drones, night vision devices, and GPS-guided explosives, putting Nigerian troops at a disadvantage. All right, that's the news bulletin we have for today. And a lot of the stories actually caught my attention, but I think I would like for Mrs. Nike to pick a topic that interests her from our whole stories. Which of them actually piqued your interest?
Well, for me, number one, let me even talk about the Aghogho festival, which you talk about.
See, we'll get to that. See, behind camera, we need to agree that Olamide is representing us. First of all, let's agree.
No problem. What is most important is that it comes to the big fish. You and I can go to the kitchen and cook. I feel good about it.
You got it. But we'll serve him anyways.
But for me, looking at the news that you have, talked about, I think the most important for me is the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission having to arrest a very dark man, VDM, is the talk of the town now. Is a story making rounds, is what many Nigerians are talking about, and a lot of people feel that we are in a country where government, does everything possible to ensure that they gag, people, especially those that are coming out to stand for the right or speak for the right of the masses. No. You and I would agree that before now, VDM has been out there, is like vocal. A watchdog.
Very vocal.
Very vocal, talking about the ills of the society. Remember that even in one of the states where the governor said that anybody on dreadlock will be arrested and all that. Well, I saw him come out also saying that if you would say this is going to be the law, then maybe you should first go and arrest Wike's son because he's the president, or because the guy is actually carrying dreadlock. But thank God that eventually the governor reversed it. That it is not by what you're wearing or what you're carrying that determines that you are a criminal.
And that's why actually we decided to make it our main topic of the day, because you actually need to explain to us. I like the fact that you're already burning for the topic. But please don't burn the studio down.
You know why? I'm not going to burn the studio down. And I think this is where everybody should speak on. The reason being that Nigerians, let me where we are here in Nigeria, a lot of Nigerians have gone through a lot in the hands of government in terms of, because sometimes I sit down and ask myself that what is the gain as a citizen of this very country? You go to school, at the end of the day, you begin to ask yourself, even the fees that you have paid, the amount of money you spend in university, you are yet to gather it in the next 20, 30, even 60 years. If possible.
Well, you have 70,000 as minimum.
And then you begin to wonder why should you be patriotic about that nation? You understand? Now, all these being again that you want to talk about the insecurity in the nation, which is everywhere on daily basis. Now we're hearing of one killing or the other. Look at the mock exam that they just did.
It wasn't a mock exam. That was right now it's beginning to look like a mockery exam because if you have mass failure like that. What exactly are we getting to?
Look, for me, I feel like there are lots of things that Nigerians are actually passionate to talk about. Like you said, lots of reasons to be angry. So many reasons to be angry because you want a working system where people can actually express themselves and, be able to become what they eventually set themselves for, out to be. But looking at the news, I kind of feel like for me, the one I found interesting, which is also similar to what she's talking about, is the NYSC reforms that will be going on. Because if you look at the fact that these core members get sent to places that are volatile, red zones. Sometimes
they've never even been to.
I've lost a close friend because of this same NYSC posting, and I've had to question the relevance of the NYSC, because imagine a parent who she actually did 5-year course and she went to school, came out, went to the NYSC. After 6 years, she ended up dying. All the investment of the parents gone. How did she die? She was killed by a Fulani herdsman on their way.
Presumably, anyway, because we can't even justify that.
So because it was actually reported, and because they said they carried out proper investigation. So for me, I feel like doing this reform is just about time. Late, it's already late, but
better late than never. Sometimes.
Better late than never.
Well, quite interesting. But if you say that the essence of NYSC has somehow been jeopardized, I'll say no. The reason being that there have been so many people who have got something to show for these NYSC thing, because it's part of driving unity in the country, so that you and you're from the northern region and from the southwest, we see ourselves as one. That is
that's not what's happening. Well, that is
achieving the purpose.
Exactly.
Right now.
Well, if not for challenges of insecurity, like you said earlier, you just talked about one. I've had a woman before who once came to on my program. And she said, out of her 6 children, a teacher for that matter, 7, this country in Nigeria, she said, one of her child, and she's the best. She told me one-on-one that it's not good to tell children in their presence that this is the best. In all areas, she's very good. That's how the girl left Oshu. She was in Oshu State camp. Yeah. And they said she spoke to them till she got to Ibadan. Thereafter, no more connection. And this is how this lady, till now, remains missing. And I want to believe that she is dead, because eventually the police started investigating the matter, and they traced the lady's cell phone to the northern part. I think one of the northern parts with one Alhaji. They arrested the Alhaji because the woman had somebody in the media. I think one of our family members worked with one of the print media, and eventually when he was arrested, guess what happened? The police said they called from Abuja that the Alhaji should be released. So the question is, who's fooling who? How serious is government about nipping in the bud this insecurity?
I still stand and say that it cannot be nipped, because insecurity is a thriving business to someone or some persons. So who's going to nip what?
Okay,
you want to talk of now imagine that you own a company, you're the CEO of the company, and then you employ someone to come in, and the person keeps trying to fight you. What will you do? You drop the person, fire the person. Your company has to grow because you're looking for profit. It's the same thing with the insecurity. Someone is arming them. Arms cost money. Someone is bankrolling that. So you want them to stop their business. It doesn't make sense.
You see, this is where we have to stand our ground.
Standing our ground in the sense that
irrespective of, it's just what you talked about now is like you say there are accidents, because there are accidents on roads because people are dying based on accidents, so no vehicle should move. Do you understand? So it means that there have to be people like us who will continually speak the truth to power. We will continually hold government responsible and accountable. And because as citizens, in fact, part of the responsibility of a government is to ensure the safety of lives and properties. And this has been going on again and again. Some have even said international community are benefiting from this. Why are they benefiting from it? I believe that even our leaders too, there are certain things that they kind of allow this international community to trade. Like some of the northern people have also said that there are resources in their own part of the region that it has not been officially exposed. Some government officials are aware of it, but they don't bring it to the table, so it doesn't go into the constitution or for the development of Nigeria. But some people come from outside the country to come and get all of these resources, and they use it and they make huge money from it. And then if you also look at it from the angle that with due respect, even the deputy, the vice president of the sitting president himself, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, they have been Shetima. I mean, before the election proper, they have been news. There are lots of people talking that when he was the governor of I think is Zamfara. I'm trying to remember the states that he was the governor then. That insecurity thrived at this time, and that it was alleged that he was also supporting Boko Haram. And then you begin to wonder, at the end of the day, this is the person that now becomes your vice president. So I am not surprised the level of insecurity that we are seeing at the moment. But of course, let's give kudos to government, irrespective of whatever. Like you said, it is better late than never. At least they're now doing something to ensure that, thanks to the fact that they are also giving the coppers 77,000 or 77,000 naira, which is something, because
that is supposed to be a thank you to them for.
We have to say thank you to them, because thanks also to the girl that came outside, the NYSC member that came outside to talk. So we are in a country where if you keep quiet, just like you said about the insecurity, if we continue to keep quiet, then they will continue to give us this again and again.
Well,
so
let's hope, Nike, that we get to that level where actually the government will listen to us. And then coming back now, we're already into our main topic for the day, the use or the work. What exactly is EFCC and their role in Nigeria? And the reason why we're looking at this is the recent arrest of VeryDarkMan. And now people were asking, you see the whole brouhaha surrounding the arrest. I mean, why did you go and arrest someone like it's a mafia thing? Like this is just one person unarmed and you go and arrest him right in front of a banking hall. And then what do you expect? But then the question now is, why was he picked up by the EFCC? And the first response that EFCC gave is that he was picked up for cyber bullying. And this now prompted Nigerians to start asking questions. When did EFCC start becoming a cyberbullying commission? Because EFCC means Economic and Financial Crimes Commission.
Absolutely.
Where in that is it stated that cyberbullying is part of their job? Now, if you say this person he was caught doing financial crimes, he was into fraud, we could understand. But cyberbullying, I mean, where exactly are we going to? What exactly? First, let's start from what exactly is the role of EFCC?
Well, I think basically the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, you will know that even of recent, the VeryDarkMan came out and pointed to them that 99.9% of EFCC officials are all corrupt. Oh. So when you talk about cyberbullying, maybe that way he has stepped on their toes, you understand, especially because they feel that nobody has the right to come and tell them to their face, even if they are doing the wrong thing. You should just keep a sealed lips and nobody's talking. And here is the VeryDarkMan who feels that whatever you're doing, you understand, I can always talk. But you know, one thing you have to be prepared, and this is a challenge many activists go through. If you are prepared to talk, then you should also be prepared for this kind of punishment or
the consequences.
Consequences, exactly. So the consequence of him speaking is what you have said. Now that is not to say I'm saying what EFCC did is right, because in the first instance I don't think it's in the place of EFCC to actually arrest them, because if it is based on financial crimes, yes, maybe they would have been right. But even if it is, why would you go and arrest someone that way? Because they can actually be seen as kidnappers. Because as far as I'm concerned, that arrest, if I'm asked, and like you're asking me, I am saying authoritatively that is kidnapping. So the question we should be asking the EFCC now is maybe we should begin to ask them that where are the kidnappers? Do you understand? Because if you can use that kind of, because if you can use that kind of style to arrest somebody, what if they were not being seen?
Yeah.
Thank goodness that he was there with his best friend that escaped after being bitten. Yeah. That came home to tell people what the challenge or what he went through. And up till now, I think the mother of VeryDarkMan, nobody even knows her whereabouts.
Oh, really?
Yes, nobody knows her whereabouts now. As far as what the friend came back to say.
Adding to what you said, right? I feel like it's I mean, these are points that have been substantiated over times. I mean, I'll just point your attention to the Holy Bible, right? There was a particular verse when Jesus Christ was arrested, right? If you take your mind back. Okay. He said, why are you guys coming to me in the middle of the night? Like I'm some thieves. I come to you in your synagogue, I preach, I walk, but you don't come, you didn't pick me up. It's in the dead of the night.
Well, it has to be sensationalized.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's a valid point you raised. He hasn't killed anybody. He didn't commit murder. neither was he a member of or a sponsor of genocide. Do you understand what I'm saying? This guy, apparently, you just wanted to pick on him, and then you go to him in that manner, pick him up in a hotel. There are process to these things.
Yes, there is.
First of all, did you serve him an invite that he declined, or he didn't
No, they served him. They said they have served him many times, and he has not honored.
I know he has honored one.
Once.
He honored one. So
I'm aware of the fact that he honored one.
Yes.
So I don't know if he got subsequent invites to the EFCC office and he has shunned them. But for me, I feel like there are other ways you could have actually done that. Look at the banking or where he was picked. That's caused a lot of problems.
Do you know thousands of people have already left GT now?
Allegedly, they burnt 2 branches of GT Bank in the Benue State.
But of course, that also send message to these financial institutions. Do you understand? Because if truly, as the allegation is, that they were the one that's called EFCC, because
I've been asking that question, how did EFCC know he was there at that time?
Now, what someone people must also know. Now, I'm not trying to justify what actually happened, but you also have to trace this back to who are those behind GTB. Do you understand? Is it not owned by a politician? Now, at the end of the day, even the banks, who are those giving them approval? Now, you have to know that everything is intertwined in this country, because even for you to have an organization, you will go through government. And that's why a lot of people are afraid to always tell the truth to power. Because at the end of the day, whatever you do, it is still government that certifies it.
Definitely.
I remember, even as journalists, sometimes, I remember years back, I did a story when it was about LASTMA officials being, their excesses.
Thank you.
So, and eventually I saw them, struggling the wheels with a commercial bus driver.
While the car was in motion.
While it was in motion. And eventually the conductor helped the driver to pull the leg of the what's it called?
The official.
No. The what's it called? Yes, the LASTMA official.
Yeah.
And eventually they passed through the covert and they escaped him, and he was on the floor. So I told my cameraman, I said, you know what, take that shot and everything. Do you know what happened? He pounced on my cameraman, tore his clothes, and even damaged the camera.
Wow.
Are you serious?
Yes, damaged the camera. But thank God I was I was reporting security then. That's about, 10 years ago or something. I was still reporting security. And what did I do? Because I already had the security people, I know them. All I did was also call the first PRO. This was happening, this way. And I'm able to get through and be successful because I have my legs also planted in government to an extent. If not, it was to be an ordinary person at the end of the day. Do you know what the essay to the governor told me then? When we eventually settled, because I was not interested. Because when they were trying to do this and talk all this at Alausa, I said no. He said, when did you start journalism? I said, I refuse to be intimidated. I said, I don't care whatever you've done. But I'm saying this is what your people have done, and you need to put them in order. And he got angry. I went outside. At the end of the day, my cameraman went to show him the visual, and he was shocked. So they had no choice but to come down and appeal to me. But you know what he said at the end of the day? He said, guess what, Nike? Let me tell you, now we are friends. He said, but if eventually this goes on air, he said, there's no way you're going to work successfully. He said, within 1 week, we'll get you. He said, do you pay your tax? How often do you? When he started stating certain things, I knew that indeed it is difficult for you to actually step on the toes of.
Okay, true. Okay, now that you said this, right?
Yes.
We had the case of Yahaya Bello that was invited by this same EFCC.
Okay.
For how many billion naira fraud, or rather stolen money. Now, he was invited, and it was like they were pampering, or rather laying out the welcome mat for him. Please come. We just want to talk. We are promising nothing will happen. That's the way it felt to me, like they were playing a drama.
No, because and then he comes in of power.
And he comes in with his own entourage, and they were greeting him and hailing him. And right there in court, while they were talking, everybody was shouting. The judge was trying to talk for more than nothing.
You know why?
And this man just stood up and did like this, and everyone kept quiet.
You know why? Aghogho, let me tell you something. One thing about this nation, I don't know elsewhere, even elsewhere sometimes, for you to thrive in anything you do, you just have to have a godfather. Godfatherism thrives right here. Yes. And we have also seen what happened between Fubara and his godfather, Wike. Eventually, who won? No matter how you want to look at it,
the godfather always wins,
because he is the godfather, and he has to let them know that he's indeed his godfather, and he goes around saying it. He needs to teach his godson lessons that he will never forget in a hurry. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So what am I trying to say in essence is this: the EFCC themselves, somebody put them there, and they don't know who the godfather of the former governor of Kebbi State is. So they have to tread with caution, because if they tread anyhow, eventually he goes and settle with his godfather. Oh my God! Whoever just did like, I'm the all in all, I know too much. Don't forget that his slogan is I know too much. So eventually that person might lose his or her job, and so they are very careful when it comes to a politician.
Another angle you can take a look at that from is, if you've read this book, George Orwell's Animal Farm.
We are more than Nigeria is a zoo. People keep saying Nigeria is a zoo.
Some of the rules, in fact, the major highlight of the book is all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. So basically, I mean, you can't, like, imagine you're trying to, if I say what's on my mind or what's on my head, I might get into trouble. You just hear FCC coming to knock.
And you know what? Let me remind you also, Olamide, this is not the first time that the EFCC is going to do this. I remember one of the artists too, who they barged into his house in the middle of the night. He was, I'm trying to remember this guy, a very popular
I think
artist.
I remember the episode, but I forgot.
Do you understand? Thank God he had CCTV camera. He has to barge into his house in the middle of the night with guns, armed, and he said he has a daughter of maybe like 5 years old.
And that's going to be a trauma for the child.
Now, the only reason why he had the case eventually was because he had the video to show, the video clips to show.
Same with that lawyer.
So if they had come in the middle of that night, if they had killed him, they would have denied it.
They would.
Yeah. Do you understand? And nothing would happen. Even this VDM issue too. Why would you arrest him in such a way? Why would you arrest him as if you
like he's the head of bandits,
or like he's a criminal?
The head of
he is not a criminal. Don't you know his address? Why not do your investigation right? I don't know why he's like this in this part of the world. In other crimes or developed crimes, what you have is you go to the person in daylight. If you don't have anything under your sleeves. But the way it is as if EFCC has skeleton in their cupboard. But unfortunately for them, VDM2 is not working alone. You understand?
He has his own
that's why
now.
This can be exposed to us. So there are 1,001 Nigerians or hundreds of Nigerians that might have gone through this kind of a situation, but because they are not out there, because they don't have their own personal security, we don't get to know about it.
Sure.
But of course, in all that we are saying, my appeal is to the EFCC that no matter what you do, one thing I always tell people is that power is transient. Do you understand? There's nothing you're going to have forever, and nobody lives forever. So sometimes when you are doing this, because even when they send you, there's a way they say it in local parlance, Yoruba, they will be like, in other words, when you are being sent on errand, you use wisdom in executing whatever order that you're being given to. Because at the end of the day, you are still going to be in this society. Do you understand? So why are you being used? I mean,
sorry to cut you short, Olamide. I wanted to do a pun. I remembered a very notorious figure that has actually faded into oblivion. Nobody knows where he is right now. Nge Lailai, like we called him. Since he was dropped by the Tinubu administration, nobody knows where he is. Ajuri, he just faded into obscurity. And I'm saying this because of what you said. Power is transient. Now, when he was there, he was always, you saw him everywhere, bashing people, saying things that are very
fancy title,
very, very funny. And he made a lot of enemies whilst he was in power. But now, where is he? Once in a while, someone just pops up on social media and says, where is Ajuri? You don't lose,
Oh, yeah, talking about Ajuri. What about Lai Muhammad?
Well,
what about Lai Muhammad?
For that man,
actually, he got an appointment with UN. So Lai is with UN.
But all of these things is man to man now. It's not from community. Somebody will recommend you when you do the job. Exactly. The job where we pat you behind.
But he did a good job.
This is time for you to advance.
Well,
you understand?
Well, we really this conversation is actually very interesting. But if we continue, we're going to overshoot our time. We still need to go and see the weather and also visit This is Africa. We'll be right back.
During the dry season of northern Nigeria, where the sun casts long shadows over the savannah, a river comes alive, not just with fish, but with the heartbeat of a people. This is Aghogho, a town steeped in history, where culture flows as deep as the water. Each year, thousands gather on the banks of Martins River for an event that is far more than a fishing competition. The Argungu Fishing Festival is a celebration of tradition, peace, and unity. It is a legacy carried in the hands of fishermen, in the songs of griots, and in the eyes of a community that has honored this ritual for generations. The origin of the festival traced back to 1934, marking the end of centuries of rivalry between the Kebbi Kingdom and the Sokoto Caliphate. What started as a gesture of reconciliation has transformed into one of Africa's most iconic cultural gatherings. For 4 electrifying days, Argungu becomes a tapestry of Hausa culture. Traditional music fills the air. Chorus strings and talking drums blend with spirited chants. Dancers in ornate attire perform with precision, echoing movement passed down through centuries. The festival also showcases the strength of the people through traditional wrestling bouts, boxing matches, and bare-handed boat races. On the final day, over 10,000 men plunged into the river. They carry only nets, gourds, and sheer determination. There are no fishing rods or modern tools, just a race against time, against each other, and against the unseen creatures lurking beneath the surface. In a matter of minutes, the river erupts in chaos and rhythm. Fishermen dive, shout, and wrestle with fish larger than some small children. The biggest catch often exceeds 50 kilograms and brings with it not only fame and prizes, but ancestral pride. But beyond the competition, the Argungu Festival is a gathering of generations. Elders pass down stories, young people rediscover their roots, and visitors from across the world witness the vibrancy of a culture that refuses to fade.
Well, that was so much fun to watch. The Argungu Festival in Kebbi State. Nike, we have to actually have a plan. Really, somebody has to represent us. Absolutely. And there's only one man in our midst. Since it's for men.
Not even with the insecurity around him.
But he has to come with the biggest
fish. Man up. To go down to Kebbi for us and get us the biggest
for
fish.
The team.
You know what I'm saying? And then you bring to us all the activities. What happened?
We'll do fisherman soup for you.
I don't shy away from responsibility. The mantle is on me, so I'm gonna get the fish. Titus.
Let me see then. Titus.
Please, as you're going to the camera.
Please don't go to my tour and get us fish.
That's where
Kebbi. You need to get to Kebbi.
Where do you think I'm going? I'm going to my tour. They play.
That would be
totally
How are you going to show us what you did? You need to jump into the water wearing loincloth, and we need to see you with everything now.
After I get the fish, I'll now go to the pool and jump into the water.
Are you for real?
At this point, nobody should trust Olamide. If you want to do business,
and we will also be expecting to see the pictures that you will take
and videos.
We need videos. Olamide, is that a promise?
I promise to do that.
You promise to do that.
The EFCC on you.
And then I will sing on your mandate for you when you come back.
And I will have the EFCC waiting for you.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay. Anyone where you want, I do.
Anyway, it's been fun being on this set today. And Nika, it was so much fun having you with us today.
It was really lovely.
It seems like if we're giving her
she was
cake, she would flog us.
She was you could see that like this.
What can we do? What can we do? We've got just one nation, Nigeria, and we just need to talk here and there, keep putting government on their toes, so that eventually, because when we have the Nigeria of our dreams, we'll all enjoy it.
That's true. Olamide.
Yeah, of course. Until we come away again next time, remember it's Africa in View. We'll be looking at something interesting again next week. Bye.
Oh, I was waiting for you to pat yourself on the back. You didn't. Oh, wow. Well, that's great. For the first time, Olamide remembered that he cannot pat himself on the back. Because I am here too. It was nice and lovely hosting this episode of the show. And we're looking forward to seeing you another time. My name is Aghogho. Ayanagho. Bye for now.